I met a restaurant owner who literally came up to me at an event years ago. He goes, I cannot get my staff to show up on time. Well, as we start getting to know each other and he asked me to help him on some consulting stuff, meeting's supposed to start at 9. Like 9:50, dude rolls in. I am so sorry. But it's a deal of like, we all have a lot of stuff going on, and I get it as you expand and grow a business. You know, it's hard if you have a tight schedule. And I know for me right now, as we're expanding Thrive, you have to take stuff out of your schedule to add stuff in. I mean, that's just how it has to work. But if you're the perpetually, hour late boss, you can't really expect your staff to be there on time either. I mean, it's.
That's right.
So you have to walk the walk and talk the talk.
And it goes all the way down the line. I was coaching a young kid who was actually in my youth group. He came to me and said, Arthur, I need some help. And he had a hamburger place. And so so I went to his hamburger place, and he had, his hair was like 2 feet long. And he comes out and it's in a big bun, and he has this apron on that it has like blood and guts on it, and
he's wicked awesome.
It was crazy. And so he comes out, and we sat down, and after about 4 or 5 sessions, we had a discussion about his leadership style.
Wait a second, I want to make sure. So he had a apron on with blood and various things on it?
That's exactly right.
And he had long hair like that.
And it was really offensive, because the Chick-fil-A cows and I had this relationship, and so when he came out like that, I was really offended.
Was he? Are you sure he wasn't a Wookiee?
He might have
fresh
been.
off a recent battle.
That's right.
He
just got done eating, but as our relationship grew, we talked about appearance and how are you showing up to work. I had said, look, you're a business owner. If you're showing up as the guy who's in the on his knees back there plunging out the toilets, then that's what your employees are going to look at you as. And finally got to where our relationship ended was when I said, you need to cut your hair, because it was everywhere. And not that I'm against it, and guys with long hair, but he was trying. He said, why doesn't the business community respond to me? How come my employees aren't responding to me the way I want? And I'm kind of saying, it might be like because you're living in the 80s and the grunge look is gone. I
think for anybody watching this who might be immediately just put off by this commentary, I think this is important that you think about this for a second. If you look at President Obama, or you look at former President Bush, as a general rule, you don't see them out very often, rocking a mullet. You just don't see a lot of presidents with mullets, or you don't see a lot of presidents with dreadlocks. It's not to say that the president could not, because he's got 2 years left as of the taping of this. He could go into the dreadlock phase, and President Obama could pull that off, I'm sure. And but people have a first impression when they see you, and whether that's whether you should do it or not, or whether we're into this worldview that people shouldn't judge you, that's fine, but they do. So they maybe shouldn't judge you, but they do. And so what you're talking about is really just making sure that you dress the part, right? So your staff will respect you and you look the part. And
the phrase my management and I like to use is dress how you want to be addressed.
Dress how you want to be addressed.
That's correct.
Love it. Now, let me ask you this. If I'm watching this and I am not super motivated to begin training my employees, I'm saying, God, just feel like it's common sense. At this company, you would think they would just answer the phone with enthusiasm. Or you would think I shouldn't have to tell my people at the bagel company not to use their phone to text message while customers are in line.
So it was a bagel company.
Yeah, there was a bagel company that I had. So if that is me, what would you say to me if you're talking directly to me on the other end of this camera and you're saying, hey, buddy, if I told you I'm not super motivated to train my staff, what would you tell me?
That you're going to fail. It's pretty simple. You're going to have to get in there and train them and show them exactly the way you want it to be done, and then you're going to have to adhere to that and follow up with them and make sure they're actually doing what you train them to do.
Now, final action step here. Final question I want to ask you as far as an action step. If I own a business and I've never installed a training system, I have never trained my staff for 15 hours before they're in front of customers, 16 hours. If I've never trained them at all really on a consistent basis, what would you tell me? What's an action step or action steps that we can all do?
I would start with just sitting down and creating a list of what are you wanting?
Okay.
What are you wanting from them? Is it about answering phones? Is it about customer service? Let's start with that. And then you can kind of break it down from there and say, so I have a retail establishment and I sell nail polish, which I don't sell nail polish, but let's just say I do.
I would buy from you if you did.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. So so we're going to start a nail polish business. Well, what does that person need to know at the front line if they're going to be selling someone on nail polish? What are the important things? And then break it down and say, here's the important things, and then we break those things down. But look at what is the most important thing. Is it to be greeting the customer when they walk in the door? Is it to make sure that that the store is clean? I mean, whatever you focus on is going to happen.
So I'm going to I just want to recap these three because it sounds like one, we want to create a list of what you want your staff to know. We want to make a list. Two, we want to break it down into different parts. So maybe one part's about how to clean the restroom, one part's on how to greet guests, one's on how to answer the phone, that kind of thing. And then I think the third action step that I think is important is asking yourself, when are you going to do it? I know I just worked with one company that now he trains his staff every day from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. before customers show up, every single day, 9 to 10. And it's made a world of difference just having that time blocked out there. So Arthur, I appreciate you giving us a little bit of that Chick-fil-A knowledge. You guys do it right at Chick-fil-A, and you have an addictive chemical in your chicken,
Yes,
which
sir.
keeps me coming back. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.